Good afternoon, Muskies. I'm Hope Forgas.
And I'm Amira Savani, and this is Xavier News.
From the Xavier University television studio is Xavier News.
Peace talks in the Ukraine broke down this week as an estimated 100 civilians died when police fired upon anti-government protesters. Reports say policemen retreated from Independence Square in Kiev as protesters threw rocks and firebombs towards the armed law enforcement. The standoff climaxed as police fired towards the demonstrators after a shot rang from the crowd. The escalating demonstrations have concerned many world leaders as over 500 protesters have been injured since the talks started. Reports surfaced Friday morning of potential peace between Ukrainian president and opposition leaders.
Venezuelan protests continued this week with reports of 5 fatalities since the violence erupted. Venezuelan security forces and demonstrators faced off, surrounded by burning barricades in response to President Nicolas Maduro's socialist government. The majority of demonstrators are students who blame the president elected in April 2013 for violent crime, high inflation, product shortages, and alleged repression of opponents. Opposition leader Leopoldo Lopez turned himself over to the authorities last week for instigating the violence. Lopez remains in jail.
A rare reunion took place in Korea this week. Hundreds of North and South Korean relatives sat together for the first time in decades. The event brought over 100 elderly South Koreans to the North for the day event. North Korea threatened briefly to cancel the event if U.S. and Korea military exercises went ahead as planned. The country has been divided since the Korean War, but families are seeing this as a small sign of progress. The Student Organization of Latinos held its annual Loteria Night this week. Here's Bridget with more.
Loteria Night, an event where friends come together and determine which one of them has luck on their side.
The Student Organization of Latinos held the Loteria Night with RSA, which is an annual event that we do.
Way to pull this together.
Loteria is a form of bingo. It's a Spanish form of bingo.
To play Loteria, each player randomly chooses their playing card. The dealer, who is also the announcer, will shuffle the cards and will announce what will be the prize and what the shape or pattern of the game will be. Whatever card is dealt, the player must mark it on their playing card. Once the player has the shape or pattern on their playing card, they must yell,
It is an annual event that we hold with RSA to promote awareness around Xavier's campus.
The prizes that were given away were a Xavier cup, a Xavier fleece blanket, movie buckets, and Graders and Target gift cards.
We held this event primarily to help promote our end of the year book scholarship gala, which is called Noches Estrellas, that'll be held on March 28th.
Loteria Night is hosted annually by the Student Organization of Latinos and Resident Student Association, or RSA. This is Bridget Rodriguez reporting for Xavier News on the Muskies.
Facebook announced a purchase of messaging service WhatsApp for a whopping $19 billion. The app service works as a cross-platform mobile messaging app, which allows you to exchange messages without having to pay for SMS, according to its website. The purchase has finance and media analysts chomping at the bit to understand the purchase. Financial analyst John Mackey applauds the purchase to gain an edge with competitor by buying the market. But critics are dumbfounded by the lack of revenue the app generates, with no ads and a 99-cent price tag after the first year. Mackey notes the company combated similar criticism when Facebook went public and managed to climb its stock 80 to 90 billion since the change.
A homicide investigation led to a large-scale gang arrest in Cincinnati this week. Cincinnati police arrested Thursday morning Tot-Lot gang leader Julius White, who supplied the gang network with heroin, said Assistant Police Chief David Bailey. Authorities have executed 2 sweeps of suspected gang members, netting 27 arrests and a dozen of guns off the streets over the last 9 months. The investigation uncovered that members of the criminal organization conspired to commit several different violent offenses, including unlawfully possessing firearms and transferring guns among other criminal organizations.
A flume of smoke covered a small city in Iowa when a fertilizer fire erupted Thursday morning. The small town of Northwood, Iowa was evacuated as firefighters attempted to maintain the blaze that erupted at a local airport. Specialists say the sulfuric acid released from the fire can cause locals to experience respiratory problems and/or vomiting, with 4 victims seeking treatment. The 2,000 residents of Northwood returned to their homes Thursday afternoon as environmental officials determined the air safe. Well, that's all from this desk. We'll be right back with Drew and the Sports Report.
besting DePaul 83-64. Justin Martin led the way with a career-high 22 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. D. Davis tied a career-high with 17 points, and Samaje Kristen added 14 of his own. But defense was the key factor for the Muskies in this game. They held the Blue Demons scoreless for the first 4 minutes and 24 seconds, making just 2 makes for DePaul in the first 8 minutes. XU shot a season-high 64.3% from the field and was 8 of 10 from behind the arc. Even in crunch time, the defense held strong as they survived a 16-point run by DePaul in the final 8 minutes of the game. The Muskies are now 18-8 overall, third in the Big East. They head down to the home stretch of their season with their rematch with Georgetown tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. in Washington, D.C. 3 Xavier track and field athletes will represent the school at the Big East Championship Tournament in New York this weekend. Senior Tim Ullman will run the 500-meter race, while sophomore Mercedes Oliver and senior Adrija Taraska will compete in the shot put. And these are 2 of the best athletes Xavier has to offer. Oliver is ranked 4th in the Big East and Taraska 6th in that event. Assistant coach Nicole Farr likes the team's chances this weekend, saying, quote, "Our teams both come in as an underdog, but we know our athletes are ready to rise up to challenges like these," end quote. The tournament began this morning at 8 a.m. and concludes tomorrow at 4:25 p.m. at St. John's campus in New York City. It's hard to believe considering all the snow we've got lately, but spring is right around the corner and our Xavier baseball season is in full swing. The team travels to Chapel Hill, North Carolina this weekend to face the Tar Heels in a 3-game series. XU is off to its best start in 29 years at 3-0 on the year. And for his performance in last weekend's series against South Carolina, freshman Andre Jernigan was named Big East Player of the Week. He went 6-11 in that series against the Gamecocks, so he'll be looking to follow up that performance this weekend. UNC is ranked 12th on the year, so a win would be huge for the Musketeers. The last time the teams faced, UNC won the series 2-1. That game is today at 3 p.m. in Chapel Hill. And with their season winding down, the Xavier swim team started off the Big East Championship meet strong. The men's team won the 800 free relay for the program's first conference championship victory, and the women's 200 free relay of Carolyn Stewart, Maddie Day, Ashley Whiteley, and Claire Brolsma won second place with a time of 1:44.05, the third best in program history. But the night's most exciting and possibly disappointing event came in the men's 200 medley relay, when the Muskies were outtouched by 0.1 seconds and had to settle for second place against Georgetown. Prelims began yesterday at 9 a.m. and finals will conclude tomorrow at 5 p.m. And that's it for this edition of the Xavier Sports Report. Good luck to all our athletes this weekend. For everyone here at the station, I'm Drew Tanner. Have a great weekend, Muskies.